Hello everyone, I am Monica Bhushan and today we are starting lecture number 5 of Power Series Solution. Okay, so in last class we actually completed the recurrence relations of Bessel function, and in today's class we are going to see one important property which is called as orthogonal property of Bessel function. Okay, so before going to prove the statement of orthogonal property, we can have some rough idea of what is called as orthogonal property. So some functions like sine, cos, even Bessel functions, they show this property, they show orthogonality property. But why we call that these functions show orthogonality? Because what happens that if we have to construct, suppose sine n pi x, okay, or suppose we have to construct the function cos n pi x, or even this Bessel function jn alpha x. We will come to know why we are writing down jn alpha x or jn beta x. So if we are able to construct these functions using a single function, say single function is sine pi x, single function is sine x cos x, or the single function is jane x. So using single function along with its zeros, okay, along with its zeros, then if I'm able to construct this function, so this property is actually called as orthogonality. Okay, this is only called as orthogonal property of the particular function. Okay, so actually Bessel function, which is Jnx, has infinitely many zeros on x-axis. Okay, but unlike sine function or cos function where zeros are easily determined by n pi, how we can determine the zero of sine x or sine n pi x? I'm just going to put the value of sine 1 2 3 4 and so on as the value of n 1 2 3 4 and so on. Okay, but to get the zeros of Jnx, it is not so easy to determine. So this is something which is we don't have to go into that detail of this orthogonal property. Some rough idea is what if I'm able to construct jn alpha x or jn beta x by using a single function jnx and its zeros. Okay, zeros will be what? If it will be your if the root which is satisfying jn x equals 0, the root of jn x which is equal to 0 will be its 0. Okay, so if I'm able to construct along with its zeros using only the single function jn x, so that property is actually called as orthogonal property. Okay, so this is the statement of orthogonal property, how we are writing down it as mathematical way, and then we are going to prove it. So we say that if alpha and beta are two distinct roots of Jnx equals 0. So if alpha and beta, right, alpha beta are roots of Jnx equals 0, that means it satisfies this equation. That means Jn alpha will be 0 and even Jn beta will be 0, correct? So this is the 0 of your Bessel function. Okay, so what happens in that case? So we can see that this is integration, definite integral 0 to 1. This integration which is in this form, okay, this form is what? X into jn alpha x into jn beta x dx will give me answer as, if alpha and beta are not equal, then it is going to give me 0. Okay, this integration will give me 0 if alpha and beta are not same, and if they are same, so it is going to give me 1 by 2 jn dash alpha whole square. So jn dash is what? D by dx of this Bessel function, derivative of Bessel function. Okay, and similarly we can write down this as 1 by 2 jn plus 1, the next order of the Bessel function in, alpha whole square. So this actually we can derive using the recurrence relations which we have seen. Okay, so we are just going to start this proof. So what we say that we know that j in lambda x, okay, lambda could be anything, right? So j in lambda x is a solution of the equation x square d2y by dx square plus x dy by dx plus lambda square x square minus n square y equals 0. Okay, so first of all, since we are today seeing this lecture number 5, so in the very first lecture, lecture number 1, we had seen what is Bessel differential equation, right? So this is the Bessel differential equation where the form is actually x square d2y by dx square plus x dy by dx plus x square minus n square y equals 0. So if we are seeing here this Jane lambda x, so we can actually write this equation also in form of Bessel differential equation, and the reason is this form is reducible to this form. Okay, so this lambda x, Jane lambda x form is reducible to my Jnx form. So this is something which we know as per the property of Bessel differential equation. Okay, now if we understand that, okay, this form we can write, this form is correct form, then we can move forward. Okay, so now what next we are doing here? So we are saying that if suppose just some name we are just giving, right? So this is u is nothing but Jane alpha x, and v name we are giving as this is my Jane beta x. Then what we can write down, this equation we can write down in which form? Since we know that Jane alpha x and Jane beta x are the roots of this differential equation, so we can say that instead of y, if I'm writing down this as my Jane alpha x, or instead of y, if I'm writing down this as my Jane beta x, or rather if I'm writing down it as u or it is as v, so I can write this equation as in this form. This is your x square. Since y I am taking as u, so d2y by dx square will be what? This is u double dash, correct? Plus x dy by dx is u dash plus, so instead of lambda x I am taking since alpha x, so here I am writing down alpha square x square minus n square, and then instead of y I am writing down u equals 0. Okay, so similarly if I am putting y as v, okay, so now what I can write here, so x square and then d2y by dx square will give me v double dash plus x dy by dx will give me v dash plus, now I am taking it as beta x, right? This v is nothing but Jane beta x. So I am writing down beta square x square minus n square v equals 0. So these two equations I am done with. Is that okay? I am multiplying this first equation by v by x and then multiplying the second equation with u by x. And why we are doing this adjustment? Because if we will do this kind of adjustment, so what will happen? In my each and every term, I will be getting the form of u and v both. It will be maybe first derivative, second derivative, but we will be having uv in all terms. Okay, in both equations we will be having uv in all the terms. So for that reason we are doing it. What we are doing here, now we are subtracting these two equations. Okay, so if I am subtracting these equations, so x will be common and then this minus this. Similarly we will be subtracting these two things, and then what will happen, this and this will get cancelled, right? So now the same thing we are seeing here. Fine, so this we are done with. Okay, now after that we can notice here that this term, if these two terms we will see, right, these two first and second terms if we will analyze, so what is happening here? Here we see that x is multiplying with v u double dash minus u v double dash. Okay, and then the second term is v u dash minus u v dash. Okay, so what we can say here, that this term, actually these two things, we can rewrite it as d by dx of x into v u dash minus u v dash. But this adjustment, right, from this step to this step, this is not easy, right? To just by looking at this statement we can write this one. So this actually comes with, if we do practice of these derivations. So to understand that whether this is actually really it is giving me this answer, we are going to perform d by dx of this term, and then we'll see that whether we are getting it or not. So what we are writing down here, we are finding out what is d by dx of x into v u dash minus u v dash. Okay, so we are using the formula here. This is nothing but d by dx of m into n is what? M into d by dx of n plus n and then d by dx of n. Okay, so now what we are writing here, this is nothing but this one and then d by dx of this complete term. This is what? V u dash minus u v dash. Fine. And then this is what? This is plus v u dash minus u v dash and then d by dx of x. Fine. So this term is nothing. This is 1. So this is this much only we have got. This part we are going to see what it is saying us. So x is common and then what I am writing down? I am finding out what is my d by dx of v u dash minus, I am just separating it out, okay, minus d by dx of u v dash. Fine. And then plus it will be only this much. Okay, x is present here and then again the same formula we are using, right? So this is nothing but this is your v and then d by dx of u dash and then plus u dash d by dx of v, okay, and then minus this is your u and then d by dx of v dash and then plus v dash d by dx of u. Okay, so what does it mean? This is nothing but x, I am taking it common, nothing but v and then u double dash, correct, one more derivative, so it will be your u double dash plus u dash and then one derivative, so it is your v dash minus u v double dash because derivative of derivative and then minus plus minus becomes minus, so this is your v dash and then u dash. Okay, so v dash u dash, okay, so this is your v dash u dash and then plus u dash v dash get cancelled, so we are getting here as x into v u double dash minus u v double dash. Okay, so x into v here, x into v u double dash minus u v double dash and then plus this term only u, this is what, v u dash minus u v dash and this is 1. So okay, so that means this is actually giving me d by dx of x into v u dash minus u v dash. Okay, so after that what we are writing down? After that, my next step is we are integrating both sides with respect to x between 0 to 1. Okay, so that means what we are writing down here. So this is my left hand side, okay, and in left hand side if I am integrating the differentiation, right, integration and differentiation will give me what? This is the only the same thing, correct? So it will, both will be cancelled out. So from 0 to 1, this is your x v u dash minus u v dash. Okay, and the right hand side will be what? So beta square minus alpha square is constant, so we have taken outside. So this is integration x which is 0 to 1 and this is your x into u into v dx. Okay, so other thing is why we are actually doing this step, why we are integrating here, because what we had said that what we have to prove here, to prove the orthogonal property we have to actually start coming into this form and later we will be seeing that okay the exact form we are into. So for that only we are taking the definite integral from 0 to 1 and then we are finding out then what is the integration of it. Okay, so here now what we are saying, so first we are writing down what is my upper limit, so putting x as 1, so this is 1, so this is as it is v u dash minus u v dash and then minus, so putting lower limit, so it will become 0, so only this much, correct? Fine. So what is here? So this is beta square minus alpha square and then 0 to 1 I have to integrate x into u into v dx. Okay, and if you will just see this term, this is actually your orthogonal property left hand side. How this is your orthogonal property left hand side? X into this complete term if I am writing down u and this complete term if I am writing down v. So this actually we have come into this left hand side of orthogonal property. Okay, so the same thing we are writing here, since u is jn alpha x, v is jn beta x, so we can say that u dash, because left hand side also we have to elaborate, so u dash will be what? U dash will be alpha into jn dash alpha x, correct? No, what we are writing down here, u is jn alpha x, so d by dx of u will give you how much? This is your d by dx of jn alpha x. So this is your alpha x, fine. So this is your alpha x. So it will give you how much? Alpha is your constant, so constant will come out, and then you can write down this is nothing but d by dx of j in alpha x. Okay, or you can write down alpha into j in alpha x is how much? Or you can write down alpha into j dash alpha x. So same thing we are writing down here, correct? No, so fine. So similarly, v is my j beta x, so v dash will be what? Beta into j dash beta x, fine. Okay, so now what we are writing down? So left hand side, instead of my v u dash and u v dash, we are writing down in this form. So we have written down in this form, fine. And then what is my right hand side? Similarly, so instead of u and v, we are writing down here, right? Instead of u and v, we are writing down j alpha x and then j beta x. Okay, so we can say that this form, because this is only my required left hand side of orthogonal property. So this complete term is actually, this will go here. So this is 1 by beta square minus alpha square. And then whatever we have got here, we got alpha constant. So alpha, then this is nothing but jn beta, and then jn dash alpha, and then beta jn alpha jn dash beta. So where is my x gone? So we are putting x as 1, right? So if I'm putting x as 1, this is jn beta alpha jn dash alpha and so on, correct? No. So because of that only we are writing down the fourth equation, fine. So now what we are saying? So since alpha and beta are distinct roots of jn x equals 0, this is the first statement only of my orthogonal property, correct? So that means we can say that jn alpha equals 0 and jn beta equals 0. Why? Because they are the roots of jn alpha, they are the roots of jn x. So that means jn alpha also satisfies this equation, and then jn beta also satisfies this equation. Okay, so with the result, the right hand side of equation 4 becomes 0 provided beta square is not equal to alpha square, right? Beta square, if beta square and alpha square are not same, that means beta and alpha are not same, so we can say that this complete term is 0. How? Because jn alpha or jn beta, so this jn beta is also 0, so this will be 0, and then jn alpha is also 0, so this is also 0, so it will get 0, correct? So we can say that my left hand side gives me 0. So that means we have proved the first case when alpha is not equal to beta. We have proved what is the orthogonal property. Now we have to see the second case, right? So now we will discuss the case when alpha equals beta. So what will happen? So if we will say that alpha and beta are same, so this will be 0, the denominator will be 0, correct? And what about my numerator? So numerator, this is also 0 because j in beta is also 0 and j in alpha is also 0. So this is what? This is 0 by 0 form, correct? No. So 0 by 0 form is nothing but my indeterminate form. Okay. So how to solve the equation when I am having the term as 0 by 0 type? Okay. So for that, what we are going to use? So now we are going to take the help of L'Hopital rule or L'Hospital rule, whatever you say it. So we will evaluate by taking limits in both sides, because the rule says us that if we have the indeterminate form, suppose 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity, then what we say? What we are going to do now? So we will evaluate by taking limits on both sides, in my left hand side as well as my right hand side, by taking what? By taking beta tends to alpha. Okay, so if I'll say beta tends to alpha, that means here I am keeping alpha constant. Okay, I am keeping alpha fixed, then only beta is varying, beta is actually tending to alpha. Okay, so here's something which we have to understand thoroughly, that if I have to solve this indeterminate form, for that I have to take the limit where either I can take the limit as beta tends to alpha, or even I can take the limit as alpha tends to beta. Both way we are okay to solve this equation. Okay, but if I'm taking alpha tends to beta, that means here I have to keep beta constant. Okay, and then alpha will be varying, alpha will be tending to beta. Now, since we are taking beta tends to alpha, so here I am taking alpha fixed, alpha constant, and then beta is varying, which is tending to alpha. Okay, so what does it mean? Because what will happen if alpha beta both we will take same, so in that case it will be the problem, right? Indeterminate form. So for that only we are taking the limit where beta tends to alpha, and my left hand side as it is, whatever the form is given, and even the right hand side everything is same. I'm just adding this limit where beta tends to alpha. Okay, so now what is going to happen? So now since we have said that alpha is fixed, right? So if alpha is fixed, that means we are saying that the property here satisfies that Jn alpha is 0, right? Because this is the root of my Jnx. So this term, this Jnx becomes 0, and then this term will become 0. Here I am not saying that Jn beta is 0. Why? Because beta is not fixed at all. Beta is varying actually. So I cannot say that Jn beta is 0 for now. So for that only this term is my 0, and I'm going to find out the solution of this term, right? So for that what I have to do? I have to take the differentiation of the numerator and even the differentiation of the denominator, correct? So I'm taking the derivative in numerator and denominator both. So if this is the numerator, so this is your alpha is constant. Even my Jn dash alpha is also constant. So I'm taking the derivative here, right? This is my Jn dash beta. Okay, because I'm saying that these two are constant. So I'm taking the derivative here. So this is nothing but Jn dash beta. And what about my denominator? So beta square will give me how much? 2 into beta, right? And this is my constant, so this will give me 0. So this is nothing but 2 beta only. Okay, so now we see that now this is not the indeterminate form, right? Next step will be what? I'm going to substitute beta with alpha. Okay, because now I can do it because this is not my 0 by 0 form. So what I'm going to write down here, this is nothing but this term is nothing but alpha, and then Jn dash alpha, Jn dash alpha, because wherever I had beta, I have replaced it with alpha. Okay, so this is my the general term which I am writing down as 0 to 1 x Jn alpha x whole square, because instead of beta I'm here also writing down alpha. Similarly, my right hand side, the same thing we have done here. So we have got 1 by 2 alpha into Jn dash alpha, and then Jn dash alpha, correct? No, so this complete thing we can rewrite as this alpha alpha gets cancelled, 1 by 2 Jn dash alpha whole square. So this is only what I had to prove, correct? No, this is only my 1 by 2 Jn dash alpha whole square. I proved the case when alpha is equal to beta. Now what next also? So there were two forms what they were asking for the second case, correct? No, so for the second form is what we have to prove that the same thing is nothing but 1 by 2 Jn plus 1 alpha whole square. For that we are taking help of the recurrence relation. So because of that only we need to memorize recurrence relation as formula. So here we are taking the recurrence relation 5, which in the last class we had proved the fifth recurrence relation also, right? That means this is your Jn dash x is nothing but n by x Jn x minus Jn plus 1 x. And why we are actually interested in recurrence relation 5? Because we had discussed that recurrence relation 5 and recurrence relation 6, these two are actually useful when we want to write down the Bessel function of nth order into n plus 1 order or n minus 1 order, whichever way. So we can take help of recurrence relation 5 and 6. So the same thing we are doing, since I have to write down in the form of j n plus 1 order of Bessel differential equation. So for that what we are writing down here, we can say that this is nothing but Jn dash alpha. Instead of x I am writing down alpha, right? And then this is equal to n by alpha Jn alpha minus Jn plus 1 alpha. Why we are writing down it? Because what we had said that Jn alpha is equal to 0. In the first slide only we had discussed it, right? So we can write down Jn alpha equals 0. So if Jn alpha equals 0, so this term becomes 0. So we will get Jn dash alpha is nothing but minus Jn plus 1 alpha. And so we got that this left hand side here. So this left hand side is nothing but 1 by 2 Jn dash alpha we are writing down as minus Jn plus 1 alpha whole square. So minus minus will become plus it will be jn plus 1 alpha whole square. So in this way we have just proved both the cases, correct? So if you find this class useful, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.